Have you ever wondered how good you actually are at shooting? Well, stay tuned because you're about to find out. Hey, in today's video, I'm going to help you figure out where you stand on a very realistic, math-based, percentage-based, time-based, accuracy standard-based scale of actual performance with a handgun to figure out where you are actually at in your skills and how much training you need. And it's pretty neat, and I think you're going to enjoy this. If you don't know me yet, my name's Caleb Lee. I'm the #1 best-selling author of Concealed Carry 101, and I'm also the founder of Patriot Training Center, where we teach live gun training courses to responsible Americans like yourself that want to come out and learn how to shoot pistols, rifles, and shotguns better. So let's get into it. So as you can see up here, I pulled up this neat little chart that I believe the source of this is John Hearn, who did some awesome investigative work here, and he's kind of plotted out all these different levels of performance, typical performance at very well benchmarked and well understood gun training drills. So these are different drills that you can shoot at the range, and they have specific times and par times associated with them and accuracy standards. So these are all kind of well-known drills that have been shot, geez, since the 60s, 70s, probably before that, right? Some of these drills and some of them are more newer, but basically it gives us a very cool like data set that we can look across and see like where actual skill levels fall. And what this is actually measuring, this one here is called typical performance and automaticity speculation. You may have heard us say automaticity on this channel before, or in some of our training materials, we talk about it a lot. But automaticity basically means that you're able to do something on a subconscious level, right? So there's really no way to perform at a high level with a handgun. You can't be fast and accurate and do all the things that you need to do in some of these drills at a very high level unless you have some level of automaticity. So this is like a scale to test your automaticity. Okay, so like, or not a scale to test it, but it basically lets you know that judging by your scores on these different benchmark drills, you can kind of have a judge for yourself of where you kind of fall on the spectrum of actually being skilled with a handgun and how much automaticity you have, how much subconscious skill you have. And I think you get the point. So the way that this works is it's not like a bottom to the top thing. That's just kind of where the drills are plotted on here. It goes from left to right. And you see on the left, performance is poor. Too poor to suggest automaticity. This would be like a very beginner. And then you start to have some more training in the second column over to the right. And then you're getting really good in the third column over to the right. And then at the far right, you have very, very good. Okay. Once you're doing the skills that are required on that level, you're doing very, very well. So what's interesting to this to me is that you can kind of benchmark yourself right here with a drill that we talk about all the time on the channel because we developed it. We call it the 3-second minimum drill here at Patriot Training Center. It's a 3-second minimum drill standard that we'd like to see everybody kind of like really push themselves in order to be able to achieve, because the 3-second minimum drill standard is pretty simple. And if you go to our website, the link is down in the description below, and you can check it out there. And I'll show you what that page looks like in just a second. But it's very, very simple. It's at 3 yards away, which is a very common distance for actual self-defense encounters with a handgun. In that type of situation where somebody could be causing you bodily harm or trying to take your life. And at 3 yards away, you're shooting into an 8-inch circle, 3 shots in 3 seconds or less. And that's from concealment. That's what that standard is based on. All those hits have to be inside that 8-inch circle, which is an anatomically correct or pretty appropriate size target. And it's 3 yards away, which is not that far away, but it's a pretty realistic distance. And it has to happen in those 3 seconds or less. So where does that put you on the performance and automaticity scale? It would basically put you somewhere down here. I'm drawing on the screen. Hopefully you guys can see this. Somewhere kind of in here. So you can see that I kind of like drew a little circle here, and it's kind of wide because we don't know really whether it's going to be here or it's going to be right here. But we have a couple different drills here that can kind of give us an idea of what we're looking at or why it might be right there. And the reason I say that is because you can see bill drill here is listed for 5 seconds, and you can see that failure drill is listed right here at 3.5 seconds. And then you have IDPA sharpshooter here, and then IDPA marksman over to the left of this line. So we're really talking about just the beginning of starting to get some automaticity. You're basically not going to be able to do this unless you're starting to get pretty comfortable with your handgun. At this point, you're definitely not thinking. You're not going to have to think through like, oh, how do I load this thing? All that type of stuff. You're not going to think through. Okay, I'm going to grab my shirt. I'm going to get it out of the way. I'm going to pull the gun out. You're going to have some level of automaticity to start to perform at this level. And the reason why I say that it's going to be somewhere in between. Basically, these key benchmarks here of the bill drill at 5 seconds and the failure drill at 3.5 seconds is because if you just think of the times that are involved in this, I think it could start to make sense. So let me just erase this real quick. Talking about the bill drill, let's just talk about that real quick. A bill drill is from 7 yards away, and you're drawing from concealment. The original drill probably wasn't from concealment, just from a holster, but for our purposes, drawing from concealment, and you're hitting an 8-inch circle, so the same target size, but it's at a further distance. So the bill drill is at 7 yards, so there's a higher level of accuracy required, but it's still that same target size, and that's taking about 5 seconds there. And then So that's the build drill there. So that kind of gives us like a baseline of 5 seconds. So if you think about what has to happen there, you could get your gun out in 2.5 seconds to that first shot. And then if you have half-second splits, so every one of the rest of those shots there, that should come out right around 5 seconds there. And then if we talk about the failure drill, this one also, I think, is an important benchmark here because the failure drill is another three-shot drill. However, the accuracy, the skills involved are a little more high level. Okay, so that's why I think it skirts a little bit to the right of there, and the 3 second minimum drill that we developed is over here on kind of the left side of that. Because the failure drill is again, you're drawing and you're shooting two shots to the 8-inch circle in the chest area, but then there's a transition and it's one shot, so that third shot, but it's into like a head zone, which is a smaller size target. Now, there's different ways that you can run that, and maybe the head zone is a smaller A box or a zone area in the head, or maybe it's the full 6x6 head box. And the way that different organizations run the drill are have changed over time, and then different people have different standards. But we're kind of seeing that there's a little bit of data for us to go off of the where we can kind of judge the skill level here. So basically, that's why I'm saying that right around what we're asking for, what we're encouraging, what we're wanting people to do to train to this minimum standard. And that's why this drill is called the 3 second drill minimum standard, is because we want people to challenge themselves and actually be able to hit this standard. But I think it's attainable for basically everyone because it is not, if you kind of see here, I went ahead and drew it again. We're just right there at the cusp of like having some automaticity. We're starting to have subconscious performance with the handgun, but we're really not asking a lot because these are not super high levels of performance, and they're eminently achievable if you just practice just a little bit. But first, you have to do two things. You have to benchmark your skill level, and that's why we developed the 3 second minimum drill standard. And then, secondly, you have to put in some practice time in order to be able to build those subconscious skills, that automaticity to be able to perform at this level. But I definitely think that this is a baseline minimum standard that anybody can achieve, but that it's something that you could be proud of if you do it. Because as you can see from this chart, you're not quite there yet, and you still have a long way to go, and it gets harder. Like anything that like the first couple belts in any like jujitsu or any martial art are going to be kind of easy to get, right? But it takes a while to get to black belt. So like on the far side of the scale, these last like 20% here, 25%, this is 4 columns here. That last 25%, that's going to take a ton of effort, right? It's the 80-20 rule in effect, right? The first 80%, you're going to get a whole lot of results in a lot less time. But basically, what I'm saying is, I think this is a minimum drill standard that's eminently achievable for most people, but it is a level of performance that could definitely very well save your life. And if you don't have this, if you're finding yourself, if you can't meet those simple benchmarks, if you can't pass the 3 second minimum drill standard, then what you're really looking at is you're over here somewhere. In fact, most people, if they've never had any training at all, they kind of fall over here, unless yeah, that's just the way it is because you don't know what you don't know, and we all have things that we have to be taught before we can perform them well. There's no reason to think that just because you're a man, just because you're a woman, whatever, you're an adult and you own a handgun that you automatically know how to use it because you've seen it on TV and you see the good guy blast away bad guys. It requires training. It requires skill. So, like I said, a very simple thing to do. First, you need to benchmark your skills. So, again, if you go to our website, you'll get the 3 second minimum drill standard. You can sign up for that, and it comes with a video, and you can download the target right here, print it out, take it to the range with you, and you can run the drill. And then once you have that baseline level of performance, once you've tested yourself with the 3 second minimum drill standard, then you can sign up for the dry fire program that's also in our description below. Again, both of these are free. Both are completely just for you to just sign up, give us your email, and we'll send it to you. It's email links. We'll send it by email, and then you'll get some extra training in the emails. But you go here, and it's a complete 10 minutes a day dry fire program over 30 days. There's a video for every single day 1, day 2, day 3, and it just continues and continues and continues. And 10 minutes a day after 30 days, I guarantee that when you go back and you try the 3 second minimum drill again, that you're going to find that you've improved at least some amount. I can't promise you a certain amount, but you're going to improve and you're going to have a much higher level of skill than you did before. And that's because by practicing, by doing just 10 minutes a day, that's not a whole big ask, right? That's not that much time to practice, but you're going to be building those subconscious levels of skill because you're doing repetition and you're doing it often. The space between the different practice sessions are not that long every single day. You're going to get very good very quickly, and you're very quickly going to find yourself on that bottom level of automaticity that we discussed here today, the one that can be so important in helping you defend your life for the lives of people that you are responsible for. So check those links out down in the description below, and you can see how they can help you build the skill that you need. And if you've ever wondered how good you are, then this is a really good chart to check out. And I will see you in the next video.